Hello, everyone, and thank you so much for joining us today for our Welcome to JDEdge by AccessLex webinar, where we are going to be talking about all things JDEdge. My name is Mitch McPhee. I am the Manager of Student Engagement here at AccessLex. I will be moderating today's session, so I'll be keeping track of any questions that come in along the way. My wonderful colleague, Allie Robbins, our Managing Director of Institutional Partnerships, is going to be presenting today and sharing all of the wonderful information about JDEdge with you. But before we get into that, I just want to take a quick moment to go over our platform today On24. Many of you have probably attended webinars using this before and are familiar with navigating virtual meeting spaces, so this is probably intuitive. But for anyone who's new, we want to just go over some of the quick highlights and features for you to make the view comfortable and make sure you know how to use all the features today. Right now, your whole screen should look something like the slide that I am sharing with you, with that slide presentation box, a speaker box with myself and Allie, and some tools down at the bottom. One of the best parts of this platform and why we love to use it is that you can customize your view. So if you want to make the slides bigger or smaller, if you want to make Allie and I disappear, so just have to listen along, you're free to do that. You can navigate that from the right-hand edge of those boxes to resize them, and you can also move the boxes around on your screen to make the view your own. At the very bottom of your screen, you will see a row of icons. The box with the question mark in that chat bubble is our Q&A panel today. That's probably the most important feature for you to know about along the way. You can drop any questions that come up. We will respond in real time on the back end directly to you. If it's something that'll benefit the whole group, I will share that with Allie and we'll get that answered for the group as well. There is also a box down there with a paperclip in it. That is where you're going to find any resources that Allie mentions throughout today's session. You can access those there. Now, I know many of you, I see a lot of familiar faces in our attendees list today, which is great, but we definitely have some new people with us. So I just want to share a little bit about AccessLex for anyone who might not be familiar. With nearly 200 member law schools, we are always focused on improving access to law school and positively impacting legal education. Our goal is always to provide comprehensive resources to law students from admission to law school through admission to the profession. How do we do that? Through diversity programming, creating academic and bar success resources, financial education resources, policy and advocacy work, and a ton of research and data. Like I said, whether it's admission to law school or admission to the bar, our goal is always to support students every step of the way through those programs. Oh, Allie, I think it is time to dive in here, so I'll turn things over to you so you can introduce yourself. Like I said, we will be monitoring any questions, so please don't hesitate to ask. Thanks.
Yeah, thank you so much, Mitch. And we have Mitch and also Florence Kerner on our team monitoring the Q&A. We do have a lot of folks in attendance, so if we don't get to answer your individual question, we will certainly follow up via email. If you're having some technical difficulties, often it helps if you go out and in again, or refresh your browser, or also clearing your cache. So I see somebody can't see the icons anymore. That usually helps if you just go out and in again. But as Mitch said, we see a number of familiar names and a number of new names. So we're going to talk to you today a little bit about what JDEdge is. So for those of you who used it last year, this beginning part you already know. We're going to tell you what's new, but feel free to ask any questions along the way. We're really excited that you all are here. So JDEdge by AccessLex is our pre-law orientation program. It's designed to be an introduction to both the academic and non-academic skills that law students need to succeed. We've broken it up into 5 modules with additional resources, which I'll talk about in a moment. We expect if a student did all of it, it would take about 20 to 25 hours. It's entirely online. It's a mix of short video lessons, written work that they can do, like actually doing case reading and briefing and outlining, a lot of reflection, some interactive online lessons, and then some live classes I'll talk about. how we're switching that up this year. But those live classes are also all recorded, so students can do it entirely asynchronously. Why did we do this? Well, as Mitch said, our goal is to support law students and law schools from admission to law school through admission to the bar. And so this was really a natural progression of some of the other great programming that we have available on our Ask Edna platform and elsewhere. We know that learning in law school is different from other disciplines. It takes a lot just to figure out, what am I supposed to do in class? What am I, how is this information coming at me? What am I supposed to do with it? How do I synthesize it? And what is expected of me on exams? And we really believe that once students learn how they learn best in law school, right? Once they figure out how to learn and how legal education functions, they can really absorb any doctrine, they can learn any skill, but they need that bit of education in how to learn in law school and that bit of practice. And so our goal with JDEdge is to give them that introduction so that you all in your law schools can take it to the next level, can take it to a bit further. So that's why we've designed JDEdge. Module 1 has a number of basic introductory things. The role of lawyers, right? What do lawyers do in our society? Where can you go to get help in your law school? We do a little bit about time management, a primer on the law. We actually have a law school glossary in there so that students can start to learn, okay, what is precedent? What is common law? What is mandatory authority, persuasive authority? What are these words, these terms that get thrown out quite a bit in law school? And so we try to give them a bit of an intro there, which is really great for JD students and LLM students, an overview of the judicial system as well. Once they get through Module 1, Module 2 is sort of the meatiest component of JDEdge. It's all about class. So it's how do you get ready for class, what happens in class, and what do you do after class, right? So those sort of 3 different stages. So we introduce them to the Socratic method. We talk to them about how to participate in class, how to take notes in class. How do you figure out what you should take notes on? What are you looking for when you're reading a case? What is a case brief, right? What are those categories that you're looking for? Here, as I mentioned, we have a live mock class. So last year we scheduled 1 live mock class. It was so popular we did it a second time. So this year we're scheduling 3 mock classes. There's a slide later on where I'll show you what those are, but also in the resources tab that Mitch told you about, the paperclip at the bottom of your screen, you can grab our webinar flyer. It's just a draft. We don't have all the links set up yet, but the dates should stick. Where, as you can see, we're trying to do it at various different times, days of the week and different times of the day to try to capture as many students as possible. But as I mentioned, they'll all be recorded, so if students can't make it, they can watch it later. And then, of course, what do you do after class, right? So now you've prepped for class, you've sat in class, you've taken notes. What do you do after, right? We talk about rule synthesis and study material creation. And again, through all of this, they're getting a mix of short videos and interactive online lessons, and they're invited to do things. So if they actually submit case briefs, then they'll get our model case briefs in return. If they submit class notes, they'll get our model class notes in return, so that they can actually be engaged in the process of self-reflection as well, which we also build into JDEdge. Module 3 talks about prepping for exams. We introduce them to the concept of analogical reasoning. We introduce them to IRAC, to some study techniques and memorization techniques. We talk to them about both essay exams and non-essay exams, like multiple choice exams. And I keep saying we talk to them about, but really they're engaged in learning about through these online interactive lessons. We do have a practice exam here that we also have a video walkthrough of, and it's a short IRAC based on the 2 cases that they will have done, read, and briefed in Module 2, and that the professor will have gone over in the live mock class, but so that they can then put their skills to the test and say, okay, so I've briefed these cases, I've gone to class, I've tried to make an outline, and again, if they submit an outline, they'll get a chance to see our model outline, and then they can do a practice exam, which again, if they submit their response, they can go over it with our video and also receive our model answer. Module 4 takes it a step further and thinks about law practice more generally. So we just want to introduce them to what's coming. We're not trying to overwhelm them with thoughts of licensing and the bar, but we want them to know what's coming. So we give them a bit of an overview of the licensure process, character and fitness. We talk about managing stress, a few minutes on landing your first law school job and professionalism expectations. the professionalism expectations piece is really about law school. What are your law school professors and administrators expecting of you? How are you expected to comport yourself in the law school? And of course, we talk to them about self-compassion, because we are always trying to build in a growth mindset and self-compassion and self-kindness so that they really can grow while they're in law school. We've all seen the research that law school actually perpetuates a fixed mindset. Students go from potentially having a growth mindset to a fixed mindset, and we want to talk to them about that as early on as possible to get them to really stay in learning mode and recognize that the first year, especially first semester of law school, is going to be difficult, but they can do it, right? They wouldn't have gotten into your law school if you didn't think they could do it. And then finally, Module 5 is a bit about moving forward. Of course, we're AccessLex. We're going to introduce them to our math lesson so that they can get some information about financing their legal education. As hopefully you know, right, we have an amazing team that does financial education for law students and lawyers, and there's great lessons on that. So we try to introduce them to that. We talk to them about transferring knowledge and skills. So I'm sitting in crim, but maybe I'm remembering torts, right, and how those things seem similar but are different, right? How does our general judicial system function? Thinking about transferring the skills of case reading or case briefing from one class to another and things like that, so that we're trying to get them to think about the big picture of their legal education. Remembering why they're there. We know that a few weeks into law school, people often will be, why did I do this? And so we try to get them to write down or memorialize in some way why they went to law school, so that when those moments hit, they can look back at that. I mentioned the growth mindset. We do some professional development planning. And then our second live opportunity, which again was really well received last year, is a student panel. We get some of our AccessLex champions from around the country to do a live law student panel. So we're going to do 2 of those this time. And they can ask those students anything. Last year we thought they were going to talk mostly about class preparation and outlining and exams. They ended up talking a lot about like post-it notes and what kind of backpack to get and things like that, which was actually, I thought, really neat. I do see a question just came in that says, at what point in a student's process should they do this? So we've designed it for students to do right before they begin law school classes, right before they begin orientation. But we had a number of schools last year that used it in their orientation program or in their first semester academic support programming. So that's up to you, and I'll talk in a second about the flexibility of the program. But our original vision was that it would be done right before a student steps into your orientation program. In addition to those 5 modules, we have bonus content, our additional resources, which are things that we think students might think they know, but once they've gotten a little bit into law school, they might think, oh, maybe I actually don't know as much as I thought I did about how to read a statute or the separation of powers. How does a case move through the civil system or the criminal system, sources of authority, things like that. So really great educational videos and lessons there that are particularly helpful for students who don't come from families with lawyers, right? First-gen students, people who'd had their undergraduate education in different countries, LLM students, a lot of great basic information there. Well, why we think this is a great program, in addition to the fact that it's free and will always be free to you and your students, we have the flexibility, you have the flexibility to assign the whole thing or any pieces that you want. So each particular lesson has its own link so that you can say to students, I want you to just do these 5 things, right? And then if they want to look at the rest, they can, but you can incorporate it into any of your orientation programming or any of your classes. That's entirely up to you. It's a lot of stuff that's in there, but students don't have to do the whole thing, right? So we know that for some students, seeing this whole thing could be overwhelming, but we have designed it so that you can introduce whichever pieces that you want. And then we will provide you with reporting on which of your students have done what. We won't be able to provide you their actual work. So if you want to see their sample outlines or briefs or their sample exam answers, you've got to have them submit those to you directly because for FERPA reasons, essentially. But we can tell you which of your students did what. So if you decide you want to require certain lessons, you just let us know and we can provide you with that reporting It's not beautiful reporting. Some of you have been in our Helix data dashboards. Those are really nice. They have great charts. This is going to be an Excel spreadsheet, but we can hopefully get you what you need. I see a question that's coming in about, do we introduce them to having difficult conversations in class if there's any DEI messaging laced into the modules? In our participating in class lesson, there's a little bit about having difficult conversations in class. I wouldn't say that we talk a ton about it, but there is a little bit about how to approach difficult conversations in our participating in class lesson, which I believe is in module 2. If you want to learn more, you can go to the website accesslex.org/JDEdge. It all lives on our Ask Edna platform. So hopefully you've had a chance to check this out. If not, you should sign up and check out askedna.accesslex.org. Not only do we have JDEdge there, but we also have all of our Max Financial Education lessons there, and we have student success and bar success lessons that are there that are free and available to your students already. If you haven't signed up, if your school hasn't signed up for JDEdge, you won't see JDEdge yet, but those other things are there and free. If you want to preview JDEdge, just let us know. Once they log in, once you do sign that agreement and your students create an Ask Edna account, they select your school, they'll see JDEdge there. They can click on each module and move through it, or as I mentioned, you can provide them with links to each particular lesson. And once they click into one of the modules, then they'll see each of these lessons. The little circle on the left will tell them if they've completed it, if they've started it. It tells them if it's a video, if it's an interactive lesson, if there's written work they need to do. So that's all there. Before we get farther in, I do see some questions coming in. So I just want to pause for a second. So one of the questions is, can we delay access to assignments within a module? So for example, if we wanted some used in orientation, but another portion available later in the semester. So it's all there on Ask Edna and all technically available to your students if you sign up. But what we've found is that students will just follow the plan set out by their school. So if you tell them what you want them to do when, they'll just do that. We haven't had too many students that are sort of going rogue and doing the whole thing. So technically, we cannot lock or delay access to anything in particular for a particular school, but you can just pinpoint students to that. I see another question. How can we go about setting up requirements for incoming students? So be in touch with us. We have a communications toolkit that we will send out to all schools that have signed up. But we can help you set up the exact links and language for each of those links for your students. So if you tell us what you want to require, we can certainly help you with that plan. And if you know, we are here to help you set up your plan for communicating with your students for which lessons and modules will fit the best with your particular program. We are more than happy to have those conversations with you and help you figure that out. Can students access this on their own, or must they be assigned JDEdge by you specifically? So this will only be available to students if your school signs the agreement. Otherwise, they won't see it in Ask Edna. You know, only students at schools that have signed up are able to see it. But if your school has signed up, then any one of your students can go on and see it, as long as they know that Ask Edna is out there. So you don't have to specifically assign them lessons, but we do think it's helpful for you to at least communicate with your incoming students that this is a resource that's available. And again, we can provide you with some of that sample communications content. I see some requests for access, so we'll send you information on how to access the content if you want to take a look at it. I see a couple of questions about, if you signed the agreement last year, do you need to renew? The answer is mostly no. Most of you signed the perpetual agreement. Some schools just signed up for 1 year, so then you'll need to renew, but we've emailed those schools specifically, so you should know who you are. But if you're not sure, just email us. I'll post the email address at the end of the webinar, but it's just studentsuccess@accesslex.org, and that'll go to Mitch, and we'll respond there. But generally, most of you who signed up last year don't actually need to do anything new but we will send you information on how to access the content individually. So for those of you, since I'm getting questions from folks who did participate last year, what's new this year? So we, as I said, we're doing a little bit change to the live webinars. We're doing the live mock law school class 3 times. We're doing the student panel twice in order to give more opportunity for students to participate. We have moved our case briefing workshop and our exam review workshop to videos in order to make space and time for those additional mock class sessions and the student panel. We just recorded yesterday those 2 new videos, but also another new video, which is an overview of the law school curriculum. So students can see, okay, what are these courses that I'm probably going to take in my first year? And we've given them just sort of a general breakdown with the very big caveat that every school is different. I should say that at all of our lessons, we say very clearly, check with your professors, check with your school. Everything's a little bit different at each school. So we're not trying to substitute for the information that you're giving them. We're really just trying to provide them with a little bit of an introduction and a starting place for you all so that you can dive more deeply into the content. Here are the projected dates for the live classes. As I said, there's also a flyer attached in the resources section. If you have other suggestions for times, let us know. But we're trying to hit the mock law school class once in June, once in July, and once in August. And then we have the Ask the Experts, which again is our student panel twice in July. Again, those will all be recorded. So if students can't make it or if it doesn't fit well within your timelines, it's not a problem at all. We did want to share, we got some really great feedback. As I think you know, last year was our first year, our pilot year. We had about 55 schools sign up. We were really happy about the participation, and the students were really enthusiastic. So we wanted to share a few quotes about that. So students were feeling like JDEdge helped them feel more prepared for their first week of law school, their first semester of law school. Students were really grateful to be introduced to the ideas of case briefing and outlining and an exam, right? That even where their schools did a nice job of addressing those things, they had some idea coming in of what those terms meant, and that was really helpful. Also, students were happy, again, about the financial aspects of it, right? So AccessLex has all these fantastic resources for helping students figure out how to finance their legal education, how to get loans, what to do with their loans. You know, we have great, amazing accredited financial counselors, and so they're able to access that information as well and be introduced to that information as well. So if you are interested in having your school learn more information about JDEdge or sign up for JDEdge, you can register right on our website at accesslex.org/JDEdge-interest, or you can just email us at studentsuccess@accesslex.org. Mitch and I both check that email address along with a number of our colleagues, so we'll make sure that we get in touch with you about that. JDEdge is going live May 1st. That's when we'll have the new updated video and all that stuff there. But the last year's content is all still available, so we'll send out some information to folks who are asking about how to check it out now. We are accepting your inquiries and applications until June 15th. If you've worked with us in the past, you know that we tend to be pretty friendly about those deadlines, but we do want to make sure that we have a good sense of who's going to be in it. I did see a question about if there's a limit to how many students from a school can sign up, and there is no limit there. You know, once you sign the agreement with us, any of your students, faculty, and staff really can access the JDEdge content. So we did have a number of schools where they wanted some 2L or 3L fellows to work with the 1Ls through this content, and that's certainly possible. We work with each school individually because we really want to know how you're using it, how we can improve it, what else you would like to see. So once you let us know via the website or the email that you want to participate, we'll set up an initial consultation to help walk you through exactly how would be most beneficial for you all to roll it out. And, you know, we'll work with you through that. And then we will also, of course, survey you at the end, and you and your students will be invited to provide feedback. And we really do take that seriously. The feedback is why we've switched up some of our live sessions this summer and why we're adding that video. So I'm getting some questions about what's the catch, what do law schools have to commit to, what does the agreement entail? So there really is no catch. That's the kind of beauty of AccessLex, which is that it's free. We're not taking your student information. We can send you the agreement to anybody who is interested in it. But essentially, what we're doing is we're committing to you that you'll get an onboarding consultation, that you'll get marketing materials, that you'll get all of those JDEdge components and reporting. And then you're committing to us that you will participate in initial consultation with us so that we can work with you to help best meet your needs, that we'll coordinate that implementation plan together, and that you will provide a contact on your campus for us to talk to, and then you'll participate in feedback sessions. So essentially this past summer, we met with some folks about their experiences, and we really were grateful for that. So there's not really another catch. The rest of the terms in the agreement are really about our intellectual property and our name and trademark and that sort of stuff. But we can certainly send that to anyone. And really there is no catch. It's not, we get questions all the time about, are we going to charge for it in the future? And that's not the plan. It really is designed to be out there to be supportive for law schools and law students. So I see Mitch is taking down the names of people who are writing in the Q&A things that they're interested in. So we'll make sure that we follow up with all of you. But please do put in the chat any questions that you have. We are here to work with you. We are really excited about this program again. We're hoping to get even more schools participating this year because our whole goal is really to help law students figure out, the whole goal with this program is to help law students figure out what they need to do in that first semester. So please do, send us an email, and we will be sure to get back to you. But I know I've been talking sort of a mile a minute for almost a full half hour here. So I'll pause now and we'll hold off for another couple of minutes as questions come in. But yeah, Mitch, do you think there are any questions that were asked in the Q&A that I didn't answer that we might want to get to?
No, Allie, I think you've covered everything, or Florence has been able to get back to a couple individuals who had some personalized questions. But just to reiterate, if anything comes to mind, reach out to us at that student success email. We'll get you that copy of the agreement if you just want to take a look at it. We can get you links so that you can access materials, take a closer look at some of those things, and also set up meetings with us if you have additional questions that come up that you want to talk through beyond an email exchange. So we're happy to walk you through the process.
All right. Thanks, Mitch. And so, yeah, I'll just say again, this is our email address, studentsuccess@accesslex.org. Any questions, just feel free to email us there, and we will make sure that we get back to you. We can send you the agreement. We'll send you the access information, our welcome video, all of that. We're really excited to partner with you and to figure out how to best support your school and your students. So I think with that, we're going to end the webinar. We thank you all for coming, for spending your time with us, and just be in touch with us if you have any questions or need anything. Thanks, everybody.